Hey everyone, welcome back to ACC Women's Soccer Roundup. This week, college teams are kicking off their non-conference schedule, so I thought it would be the perfect time to preview all 17 ACC women's soccer teams this season. For each team, I'll present a graphic that shows where the team finished in the ACC the previous 2 years, and I'll highlight the teams they played. If anything stands out regarding the difference in strength of the 2 years, I'll mention it. As you look at the standings, I'm going to present the bold line after the 6 teams split those that made the ACC playoffs from the remaining 11 teams in the conference. I'm also going to show you their upcoming 2026 schedule with the 2025 finish of each team they played this year. This can give you an idea of what the strength of schedule will be like for 2026. But obviously, standings change year to year, so true strength of schedule is more precisely analyzed after the season's over. I'll also discuss significant losses or additions to the team's roster, as well as Top Drawer Soccer's outlook on their incoming freshman class and their portal transfers. Something to note is that transfers have become more important in roster building these past few years. One of the advantages for coaches getting transfers as freshmen is that a significant amount of uncertainty is removed. Most transfers have at least survived a year of college soccer and have tape at the college level that coaches can analyze. Remaking a team with transfers can yield results much more quickly than with incoming freshmen. Also, something big happening this season is the U20 Women's World Cup. A lot of teams are going to be affected by some of their top players leaving to go compete at the World Cup mid-season, so that's going to be very interesting to see as we go throughout the season. Last note, I attempt to be as accurate as possible. Please let me know if you notice any incorrect information regarding any team. Also, if you have any additional information, feel free to drop a note in the comments. Let's get started. All right, we're going to start our team preview with Syracuse. The ACC Soccer Coaches Poll has Syracuse at the bottom. So let's take a look at how the last 2 seasons went for Syracuse. Based on the finish of other teams in the conference the last 2 seasons, Syracuse's schedule has been tougher than average. One item of note is that last year, their win against University of Miami was their first conference win since September of 2022. Now let's take a look at who Syracuse plays this year. Based on 2025 team finishes, this may be the least difficult schedule they've faced since the ACC went to 17 teams. But obviously, we'll see. Now, what's their outlook for 2026? They have some challenges to improve their standing in the ACC. From last year's team, they lost top scorer Mia Clammer and top playmaker Ashley Roush to graduation. That is 13 of their 22 goals and 7 of their 16 assists. They also returned 0 players who scored more than 1 goal last year. Their freshman recruiting class isn't listed among the 46 teams mentioned in Top Drawer Soccer 2026 recruiting rankings either. So, where will they find goals? They have 3 transfers who are listed as forwards: Emery Streets, Allie Howard, and Farrah Stevens-Martins, with Allie Howard from the University of Tennessee being the biggest name there. They also have 1 transfer listed as a midfielder, Vicky Jones. Their freshman class also has 5 listed as midfielders. Defensively, they're going to return 3 starters who played the full 90 in their shutout win versus conference rival Miami last year: Bree Bridges, Jasmine Nixon, and Natalie Magnotta. They're going to lose starting keeper Shea Vanderbosch, but they have returning keeper Lily Heslett, 2 transfer keepers, Maya Nimoli and Maggie Manning, and freshman Lindsay Parker, who will all compete for time. In 2026, with Syracuse returning experience on defense, they'll be looking for their 13 newcomers along with returners to improve on their prior 2 season finishes. Next up in our preview is University of Miami. Miami came in at number 16 in the ACC Coaches Poll. So here are the finishes for Miami the last 2 seasons. The teams they played are also highlighted. As you can see, their 2025 ACC schedule was a bit tougher than 2024. This season, the Canes play the following teams. Based on 2025, 2026 shouldn't be as difficult for them. Now, if you look at the prior 2 seasons, Miami has played some respectable defense in the ACC, giving up 1.7 goals per game in 2024 and 1.6 in 2025. Last season, they had a season highlight with a 2-1 win against UNC. And against us, the game ended 3-2, and it was a grind to get all 3 points. But in the other 8 ACC games, they scored 1 goal total. I'd be bullish on Miami moving towards the middle of the ACC standings, which is no small jump, if I could see a way they could score more goals. Unfortunately, their 2024 dynamic scoring freshman, Gio Canali, was injured in 2025, and their ACC goal production cut in half, from 1 goal per game in 2024 to half a goal per game in 2025. Further, Canali has transferred to UVA for the 2026 season. On a more positive note, Top Drawer ranks them number 19 for incoming freshman class, but the highest rated players are on the defensive side. Still, that's an impressive overall rating, and 2 of the forwards, Camberell Armstrong and Zoe Fontenot, are well regarded. They'll be looking to join last year's top point scorer, Ciara Alarcon, to improve Miami's attack. They also return the 8 players with the most minutes from 2025, including their keeper, Atlee Olofsson. They have 2 incoming transfers that contributed to their prior teams, keeper Abri Hash, who had a stellar freshman season at Holy Cross, and defender Jalia McPherson, a U20 captain for the Jamaican national team, who started 13 games. The Canes are shaping up to be a much more difficult team to play than they were last year, but there are no proven answers to improving their goal scoring enough to be an ACC playoff contender. They'll be looking for their talented freshman class to grow into their roles quickly. Next up on the preview is Boston College. The ACC coaches put Boston College at 15 this year. Let's take a look at the last 2 years for BC. Their ACC schedule was noticeably tougher in 2025. This year, they play a wide range of teams based on the 2025 finishes. Saying that BC struggled to score in the ACC last year would be an understatement. 3 goals in 10 games. However, their defense was stellar, giving up the same number or fewer goals than 3 of the 6 playoff teams. They are going to return 13 of their top 15 players in total minutes, but the losses are pretty significant. Bella Douglas transferred to UCF, and stud defender/midfielder Sophia Lauenberg is now playing in the NWSL with the Boston Legacy. I normally would expect relative improvement when teams return as many contributing players as BC, including their accomplished keeper, Olivia Shippey. However, both losses were key players on the defensive side that has carried the team the past 2 years. It may be difficult to perform at the same level on defense this season. Also, their 2026 freshman recruiting class wasn't listed in Top Draw Soccer's top 46 programs, and none of their transfers appear to have started consistently at the college level. To improve offensively, last year's top point getters, Sophia Real, Emily Mara, Amalia Dre, and Mila Lee, will need to count on some help from the freshman class and a couple of transfers that haven't proven themselves yet. It's going to be a big ask. Now on to SMU, one of the newcomers to the ACC. The coaches poll put SMU at 14 this season. Now, looking at their past 2 years in their schedules, their 2024 schedule was a bit more difficult than 2025. Their schedule this year looks similar to 2025 in terms of difficulty. There's going to be a lot of turnover at SMU this season. They only returned 3 starters who started more than half the games, including keeper Aubrey Brown, midfielder Lindsay Nicholson, and midfielder Zoe Parkhurst. The returning players only have 6 goals total from last season, with 2 players having 2 each. Also, Top Drawer doesn't list them in the rankings of the top 46 incoming freshman classes, so they have a big rebuild in store for them. Fortunately, they have reinforcements. Incoming freshman Kamaya Beck and redshirt freshman Brooke Button, who was injured early last season, were both recently called to the U18 women's national team camp in June. They will add some much-needed high-level talent. They also have a total of 10 incoming freshmen, including 2 listed from Germany. From the transfer portal, they added 6 players, including 3 with significant playing time for their former teams. Eller Zimmerman on defense from Iowa State, Kaya Elverum, midfielder from Jacksonville State, and Olivia Silcox, a midfielder from Memphis State. For SMU, there will be a lot of getting to know each other in preseason camp, and it may be difficult to improve on last season's performance. Now let's take a look at Pitt. Pitt was number 13 in the coaches poll. Looking at their last 2 years, after a fairly balanced schedule in 2024, in 2025 they ended up playing 9 of the top 12 finishers in the ACC. That's a pretty tough schedule. 2026 is shaping up to be a lot more balanced than last year. Even with a very tough schedule, Pitt ended the 2025 season on a high note, beating Behemoth Notre Dame 1-0. And I'd like to personally thank them, as that gave Stanford the ACC championship all to ourselves. So, thank you, Pitt. But the season wasn't to their normal standards, with an ACC worst -20 goal differential in the 10 ACC games they played. They had a lot of turnover from 2024 and were fielding a relatively young team. So, there were some growing pains. However, the outlook for Pitt is better this year. Pitt only loses 2 players with starters minutes, including keeper Abby Rice and their top assist creator and second in goal scored, Margaret Wild. Their top scorer, Katie Ellermeyer, and defensive stalwart, Katie Zalski, are returning. And they added a key defensive transfer from SMU, Claire Jones, and starting American University keeper, Addison Romer. Pitt's 10-member freshman class is ranked 20th by Top Drawer Soccer, with 4 top 150 ranked prospects. Keeper, Ellie Johnson, Savannah Johnson, Macy Tu, and Talon Guthrie. It's going to be a long haul from giving up 26 goals in the ACC to getting to mid-table and challenging for a playoff spot, but Pitt is headed in the right direction. And finally, our last team for this first video, Virginia Tech. Tech is ranked 12th in the ACC coaches voting this year. Looking at their schedules, they went from one of the least difficult schedules in 2024 to one of the most difficult in 2025. They played the top 5 finishers and only one of the bottom 5 finishers last year, which was their only conference game against a team under .500 in the conference. Looking at their 2026 schedule, the good news is that it's shaping up to be a lot more like their 2024 than 2025. Now, 2025 was a tough year. After qualifying for the ACC playoffs in 2024, they didn't win a single game in conference last year. There's no way to sugarcoat it. The defensive performance went from second best in the ACC in 2024 with 8 goals against to 16th out of 17th in 2025 with 25 goals against. The offense took a step back as well, scoring 6 fewer goals in 2025. Now let's explore what 2026 is looking like. On defense, they lose an experienced keeper in Lauren Hargrove. However, they have incoming NJCAA National Tournament MVP keeper and FCSAA Defensive Player of the Year, Juliana Trujillo. There's good news on the offensive side if Eliana Salama can come back healthy. She's a quality player and had a great start last year before her injury and was a top-level threat at SMU before transferring to Tech last year. They also added University of Delaware freshman standout midfielder Lily Lubick, who was first-team Conference USA as a freshman. With returning starter Hannah Pantaleo, who was second in points with 13, it gives the Hokies a good baseline of threats. Other reasons for optimism: the Hokies freshman class was among the 11 teams mentioned by Top Door Soccer after the 35 ranked teams. It includes New England Conference Player of the Year Joanna Bradley and U17 Canadian national team member Alyssa Giroud, as well as 2 European internationals. It's going to be a long climb back to playoff contention in the ACC from the bottom, but with the additions and experience gained from last season, this year I fully expect the Hokies to finish much closer to the middle of the table than the bottom. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of ACC Women's Soccer Roundup. If you want to see what the other 11 ACC teams are up to, keep an eye on the channel as I preview them over the next few days. See you next time.